Coming up on Buckeye TV, we'll learn more about this winter weather and how southern states are reacting to it.
And how musicians are working through the pandemic.
Hello, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Maddie Gehring.
And I'm David Mengiat. We have a good show for you today. Today we're talking about mental health, college students, and this crazy weather we've been having this week. Stick around and hear all about it.
TikTok's substantial influence has primed itself to become one of the primary tools used by struggling performers throughout the pandemic, notably musicians. With the absence of live music, we take a look at how the pandemic has created waves of change in the music industry. We have David Mengiat with the full story.
It's no question that the pandemic has had quite the effect on all of us as a whole. However, for musicians, this effect is a little bit more unique. Today, we are interviewing a couple of members from the Ohio State community to see how they have pivoted in their work as musicians.
By no means did I expect to have any clout on TikTok. It just came out of nowhere. I posted this 15-second long video of me singing Stitches by Shawn Mendes over the summer. I put my phone down for a couple hours, and then I got a couple texts saying, hey, your video's at 75,000, 100,000, a million views. And by then it had just taken off, and the algorithm had just pushed, number one, my music, number two, just the video. So it was good for my following externally from TikTok as well. One of the biggest things that I would do to gain a following is to busk, play on the streets down in downtown Columbus in the short north and such. And because I can't do that, and it's just not morally okay, in my opinion, to be playing in front of people in person, it's made things more difficult, but it's given me a lot of time to focus on myself, focus on the actual work and the production side of things, rather than going out playing covers and a couple of my originals and never actually putting them on platforms. So it was a huge step. Had I not been sent home and quarantined alone, and I had so much time to myself, then I don't think I would have had the time to build the studio that I did at home.
Adam has even gone to the lengths of converting his own campus dorm room to a private music studio. According to Alexis Lobick, president of the Music Industry Club at Ohio State, this DIY musician model is crucial to today's emerging artists.
It's a very DIY music culture that we have right now. If there's anything that you can do with a label, you can do yourself. So I think take advantage of all the time you have and all the free resources online.
Though not an instrumentalist herself, Alexis has worked with entertainment promotion companies such as Promo West Productions and shares the challenges that she's observed of self-promotion during the digital age.
Staying relevant is something that is pretty difficult, especially for bands that have an audience that might not be super active on social media.
Rather than just being the talent, you look for playlists, you look for labels. Now it's what is your following on TikTok, on Instagram, on this. And I think that a lot of that, not wholly, but a lot of that was because of the pandemic.
I think we've seen a lot of people adapt and kind of innovate with the drive-in concerts or patio shows, live streaming, utilizing platforms where people can make donations and things like that.
In lieu of the current climate, Alexis has observed Columbus's hopeful progression towards the return of live events in the near future.
I see now people are very hopeful. They're hopeful that live music is going to return. It's going to look different. We're going to have temperature checks, smaller quantities in the venues, social distancing, of course, masks. Now we're even seeing shows actually open up again. For example, Scully's is actually hosting in-person events. I see some shows actually scheduled for March. And not only that, there's another venue opening in Old North called Lovebirds. So we're really seeing Columbus really sustaining through the pandemic, which is really, really awesome because there's a lot of cities that are struggling.
According to Alexis, most musicians generate a majority of their income through live performances. However, with the absence of live events, Financial sustainability has posed as a major problem to struggling musicians. Alexis shares her thoughts on the hopeful shift toward further monetization and compensation of major social media platforms such as TikTok, in addition to possible income musicians may be earning from streaming platforms such as Spotify or Apple Music.
Alongside, be interested to see, if that, is an amendment to the Music Modernization Act where artists are getting a little bit of revenue from when they get their sample played on TikTok.
Despite the complications of the pandemic, it's definitely a necessity for musicians today to continue figuring out how to pivot and how to adjust to the situation. This is David Mengiet, Buckeye TV.
The weather has certainly been harsh the past few days, but Ohioans are used to it. Some states, like Texas, however, have seen more severe weather than they would have liked. Clay Kessler is in Texas and has more.
Hello, my name is Clay Kessler, and I'm here with Buckeye TV in Houston, Texas. Here in Texas, we're currently experiencing the largest snowstorm within the past 130 years. As you can see, it's not a lot of snow, but even 1 inch is enough to set the entire country on a statewide shutdown. Here in Texas, there are not snowplows or salt to treat the roads, so all the roads are covered in a thick layer of ice. 80% of all residents in Texas are trapped inside their house with no power.
Well, as of right now, we have no electricity, no Wi-Fi, very little water. So we're kind of figuring out what are we going to do tonight if it stays this cold. So I'm thinking we might want to be better prepared for the next time. The hardest part of the storm, I think, is when we lost the power. There's 11 of us in the house, and we all looked at each other and had no idea what to do. So trying to figure that out, and we have figured out we like to eat. And luckily we have a gas stove, so that's working out for us. What I think, if we ever get the news back, is that I'd like to be able to see that other people are helping others. We have food. We're going to be fine. We're going to be warm enough. We've got enough blankets. I'm just hoping that coming out of this, we can see the community helping others.
As you can see, Texas is clearly outside of its comfort zone, but its residents are doing their best to make the most out of the situation they're given.
Speaking of weather, Ohio has seen a lot of snowfall the past few days, but the small northwestern Ohio town of Delphos has seen the most, with a 24-hour snowfall accumulation of 11.5 inches ending at 8 a.m. Tuesday morning. Fortunately, there isn't any more snowfall accumulation expected in Columbus. Regardless, we hope you all stay safe and warm during this time. Stay tuned because after the break, we'll take a look into the changes happening to the Ohio State University Library.
And don't miss out for a quick look into the latest on OSU sports. With the results of this pandemic, many isolated students are struggling to deal with school and their personal lives. Reporter Garrison Glover has the story.
Here at OSU, many students have felt the weight of this pandemic and made a variety of reactions to it. I have talked to students and staff alike on this issue. Sociability is a part of human nature, and regardless if you follow the on and off campus guidelines or not, there's still room for many OSU students to face both emotional and mental stress during these isolating times, whether it's organizing their schoolwork or battling through loneliness. I talked to clinician Harry Warner for his advice on dealing with these tough times.
I think something that's really important is to practice acceptance because there's only so much we can do to change the current reality. And it's awful. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I think things are terrible and having a real impact on all of us. So I think acceptance and just acknowledging the things that we can't change kind of helps to clear the way for what do you do about it.
He also provides resources to those who are seeking for improvement.
If students are struggling and they need support, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're always here 24/7. There's always somebody that has your back with something. You can call CCS in the middle of the night if you need to. There's an excellent wellness coaching program over at Student Wellness Center, stuff to do with the RPAC, digital and in person. So, reach out, do something, stay involved.
I also took the time to talk to student Ian Shrivastava to hear his advice on this issue.
I would say the best thing you can do is cut yourself some slack. Understand that nothing's easy for anyone right now. We're all going through it. You're just going to have to learn to live with your mistakes that you make and live with the setbacks that are handed to you throughout this.
And if you're looking for ways of self-improvement, please contact Counseling and Consultation Services. For Buckeye TV, I'm Garrison Glover.
As students have adjusted to restrictions and university guidelines, so have campus libraries, seeing fluctuation using student usage and notable changes in space and function. Gabe Burgraff has more.
University libraries have made several changes this semester to help promote social distancing and safety for the student body. I spoke to Vice Provost and Dean Damon Joggers to learn a little bit more.
Joggers said safety initiatives, such as closing the stacks and group study rooms, aim to maintain student safety while following university guidelines and scientific principles.
We took down the group study rooms because we couldn't, in those study rooms, meet the state guidelines of keeping people away from each other, right? Because they're smaller spaces. If we can argue our way to the notion that two people can be sitting next to each other at a study desk, then why couldn't we open the group studies? You know, It's just whereas the science tell us. But I think we'll start moving towards those norms as we move into the fall.
Joggers said that 18th Avenue Library, which is typically a 24-hour location, has been heavily affected by the recent state curfew and low student usage.
In those late night hours after midnight, we were seeing, all across the entirety of the night, 5, 6, 7 people. We just weren't seeing the real reason to have a facility open, and to do that. Our intention is when we move back to normalcy to return to a 24-hour facility there. That is our intention.
Joggers is hopeful for the possibility of a shred of normalcy returning.
The hopeful thinking is that, fall semester is going to feel a lot more like normal. So if the vaccines continue to be rolled out and we see that they're effective against variants and all the numbers continue to go in the right direction, the discussion within the administration of the university that, fall looks a lot, it may not be 100% normal, but it's closer to normal than it is to this abnormal, that we've been.
From Thompson Library, Gabe Burgraff for Buckeye TV.
The Ohio State women's volleyball team held on to their now 7-0 winning streak with the win over Penn State last night, here in Columbus. They're set to travel to Illinois now to face off against the Fighting Illini tomorrow and Saturday. We wish them the best of luck and stay safe during their travels. We also want to wish the number 4 ranked men's and number 15 ranked women's basketball teams the best of luck today on their matchups against Penn State and Purdue, respectively.
When we return, we'll be talking about how dogs can impact your mental health.
We'll also be taking a look into the safety precautions being set by local bars and restaurants during the pandemic. Stick around. The mental toll the pandemic has had on individuals has been devastating. The fear of isolation has been on everyone's minds. But could your 4-legged friend be the answer to that? Maddie Gehring has more to say on the story.
Hi, I'm Maddie Gehring from Buckeye TV. Today I'm going to be talking about your dogs related to your mental health well-being during the COVID-19 global pandemic.
The dog is really fun. She always brings light in the house. We're always playing with her. Living with a dog during quarantine has been really fun. She always is there whether I want her to be or not. She's kind of my little companion, follows me everywhere, which is a good thing and a bad thing sometimes. I've really noticed a difference in my mental health when I have been living with a dog versus when I haven't. The dog during quarantine really boosted everyone's mood in the house, honestly. She's always there doing something stupid, which always gives us a good laugh. Come here. Come on up. The one thing I will say that has made the biggest difference when I have a dog with me is that I feel a lot more calm. Usually when anxiety kicks in, I can always just go to my dog, go to Remy, and she's always there for me. Night or day, she's always there. Good and bad thing, again, but she usually helps me through a lot of stuff, which I never realized I needed in my life, and I'm very grateful for her. She has definitely impacted me in a lot of ways during school and just on the weekends.
Well, it seems like your furry friends do have a positive impact on your mental health. This is Maddie Gehring from Buckeye TV.
While on the topic of mental health, it's important to note that there are several resources here on campus to aid you through the spring semester slump. Counseling and consultation services here at Ohio State is an on-campus resource that allows you to speak with a mental health professional. Visit their website. It's free, it's confidential, and it's casual one-on-one conversations. Take care of yourselves.
And now, what are your local bars and restaurants doing to keep you safe? Going out sure isn't what it used to be. Here's Jared Tekovic with the story.
Going out is one of the most important aspects of maintaining a healthy social life while in college. But during the COVID-19 pandemic, going out has become a much different experience. I'm here at Threes Above High, one of campus's most popular bars. Usually filled shoulder to shoulder with people, there's seen a lot of change here within the past year, especially regarding to how they keep our fellow students safe.
We take reservations now. So at noon every single day, especially like Friday, Saturdays, we get 100 to 150 DMs of people trying to make reservations. And we kind of just, pick them at random. So we know exactly how many people are coming in. We know exactly how many are in each group. We know what time they're coming. So that really helps us to, not have cluttered mess of people, trying to hurry up and get in or the line. We've been following all the rules since day one. They were kind of, not straightforward at first, but I think everyone knows by now. We have the reach on social media, so it's kind of easy for us. We just put something out there with the rules, and then people see it, and they know what's up. So that really helps us a lot.
Most of the students that come in here and all of our customers have really been really respectful about it, so we really haven't had too much problems with them.
Do you think that the lifting of the curfew is going to have any effect on the number of cases in Columbus?
You're not going to stop college kids from partying. If you make bars close at 10 o'clock, then they're going to house parties where there's no door guys, there's no managers going to walk around and tell you to put your mask on.
While some people may not be interested in going out with their friends during the pandemic, it is important to note that most of these bars and restaurants are doing the best to keep you safe. With Buckeye TV, I'm Jared Tekovic.
Coming up next, we have the latest on student organizations on campus.
And we'll be looking at how they have been staying active while staying virtual. Student organizations are a staple to the Buckeye community, but how have they been operating during the pandemic? We have Holly Lastly here to answer that question.
There are over 1,400 student organizations at The Ohio State University. In March 2020, students were sent home from school due to the coronavirus pandemic. In cooperation with state mandates and school rules, many of these student organizations have become virtual. Others have suspended their activities temporarily. Today, we are going to explore how the coronavirus pandemic has affected student organizations at Ohio State.
In your opinion, how has the coronavirus pandemic affected your club?
I think it's actually affected our club in a positive way because we're able to connect with recruiters that don't need to travel to Columbus. So we can connect with people that work within HR from all over the country or all over the world. So people can just zoom in and you can do meetings from like the comfort of your home. So we don't have to just focus on Columbus-based corporations. We can focus on anybody that we can get from throughout the country.
Okay, cool. So you joined Zeta last year, correct?
Yeah.
How do you feel that the coronavirus pandemic affected your experience as a new member?
I feel like as a new member, it kind of cut it really short. So I was in Zeta, I want to say, for only like a couple of months until COVID happened. So for me, my experience and all the money I was paying for was just kind of cut off almost. And then like coming now, like, we're still in school, it has made it a little hard to like see everybody just because of like restrictions and numbers of people. But even despite that, though, we still try to make ways of getting everybody together in the community again.
Although student organizations have become mostly virtual, they are doing their best to provide enriching experiences for their members. Thank you to all club members and their leadership for making this the best experience possible and doing the best given the circumstances. To learn more about the student organizations here at Ohio State, please visit Ohio State's website. Thank you.
That's it for us today. Thanks for sticking around, and as always, I'm David Manguillet.
And I'm Maddie Gehring.
See you next time on Buckeye TV.